Hey everybody, it's Dr. Joe Borio with this week's Health Kick, and I wanted to share with you some information today on digestive problems. We talked a little bit about Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, we talked about reflux, but even like irritable bowel syndrome. But if you kind of put it all together, one of the major problems that we're having when it comes to digestion is what we're putting in our body and what our body is struggling with in order to digest it. So what does that mean exactly? This would be my first point. If I have an engine in a car and that car is designed to run on gasoline and I put diesel fuel in the car, the engine of the car won't perform properly. It probably won't perform at all. Even if I go from leaded to unleaded or vice versa, the car will tend to putter and sputter and not give you power or acceleration. It won't work properly. That is really what we're running into when we put certain fuels in our body, and the point is that food really serves two purposes. One, it serves as material to rebuild our body, so building materials. Think of it, every time you go to eat, you're going to Home Depot and you're going to build some new cells and hair and skin and organs, and that's what you're doing when you eat. So it's really important to think about. Number two, you need fuel. Food is fuel. So when you look at food from now on, try to remove the emotion away. Listen, I grew up in an Italian family, and let me tell you something straight out. I don't care what it was the time to eat. You know, if I had a bad day at school, my mom would say, Joey, did you have a bad day at school? Here, sit down, let's give you something to eat. Are you cold? Here, sit down and have something to eat. Boy, you look a little flushed. Eat. Somebody died. Eat. Somebody got married. Eat. Celebration. Eat. Mourning. Eat. I mean, no matter what it was a reason to eat. And that creates this emotional connection within us. So when we look at certain foods, we talk about comfort foods and so forth, there's an emotional connection to the food. And that's good in a sense, right? It brings back memories, it makes you feel good, and hence the term comfort food. The bad news is a lot of those foods on a regular basis, not to say you never can have it, but on a regular basis, they're really not good building materials, right? And they're really not a good source of fuel. So the best way to look at it is this. Before we had modern industrialized man, right, what did we have around to eat? Okay, so before we could really cook things and process them and store them and so forth, how would we eat? Well, what would we eat? We would eat freshly killed meat. We would eat freshly killed fish, right? We would eat what? We would eat berries and nuts and grains, and we would live off the land. It's called the paleo diet, if you will, the innate diet, foods that were actually designed. So the more you can eat foods in their natural state, the much better off you are in providing two things, a great source of energy and a great source of building material. The further along you go and the further you put food in your body that's processed, you're putting in sluggish fuel, diesel and a gas, so you're not going to have the performance. And secondly, you're not going to have really good building material. So how do we know that? Well, geez, our skin starts to break down, our hair starts to break down, start to have organ failure. But one of the first things we'll notice, is going to be digestive trouble. You're wondering how I was going to tie all that in, right? So what happens is when we start to put bad stuff inside us, we start to have digestive problems. So most people for years will have digestive trouble before they ever have any type of sickness or disease. We're going to burp, we're going to belch, we're going to have diarrhea, we're going to be constipated, we're going to be crampy, we're going to notice that we're really sensitive to certain foods. And then what do? We still eat those foods, and then we take certain drugs so we can still eat those foods. Listen, if you find you got to take a handful of drugs or a couple pills every day just to get through what you're putting in your body every day, why do we have symptoms, guys? Let's go back to some simple things, right? Nature gave you the symptoms to let you know something's wrong, right? So here you are, you're designing the human body like, geez, I want to let these people know something's wrong with their body. I'm going to give them symptoms. Well, let's think. If I'm going to have stomach trouble, digestive trouble, I'm going to give them symptoms in the digestive system. I mean, it just makes sense, doesn't it? But we're so foolish, and we're so inundated, and we're so stuck in this paradigm that we can do what we want, eat what we want, regardless of some simple common sense rules and laws, and then there's a pill for every ill. Listen, we are an industrialized nation in this country. We're one of the richest nations on planet Earth, right? And we're one of the sickest nations on the planet. We are arrogant and we snub our nose at simple common sense ideas. We snub our nose at the simple common sense sensibility to say, hey, look, this food I can put in me and this food I can't. And then again, anytime we start to get sick, we don't feel good, we start swallowing down a handful of pills. What do we need to do? What's different? Like I said, start looking at your meals as building material and good energy. And what do we want in the morning? We want really good energy in the morning. So we want, what do we want? We want fruits and vegetables, more so fruits in the morning, right? More vegetable in the afternoon, a lot of vegetable at the end of the day. Morning, we want to have more energy. End of the day, we want to do more repair to the body. So come afternoon and dinner, we want to put what in our body? We want to put more protein in our body. And I'm not against all red meat. You know, is it grass-fed or grain-fed? How do you make somebody fat and porky and unhealthy? Feed them a lot of grains. How do you make somebody lean and healthy? You feed them what? Grass-fed meat. They're going to be, it's much healthier, lower on the inflammatory basis. So what? All these arthritic problems and skin problems and digestive problems and heart problems that everybody suffers from, half of it's from the junk we're putting in our body. Now you add to that steroids and pesticides and herbicides, which is usually arsenic or cadmium or mercury, some other kind of heavy metal. Not good stuff. I'm not painting a good picture. Don't mean to get negative, but that's where we're running. So spinning this around, let's make it some positive. Digestive troubles, this. White processed flour, white processed sugar. If I take flour and water, mix it together, add a little newspaper, paper mache, that's what you're putting in your gut. You want to avoid those things. How can I improve the gastrointestinal system? Add healthy bacteria. Kind of a disgusting fact, but over 50% of the material of your bowel movement, we're all adults here, poop, is dead bacteria, okay? So bacteria are extremely important. Those microorganisms are very important to help you digest. Number two, what do we want? Digestive enzymes. They're all very high in living foods. You're going to get digestive enzymes from living foods, but a lot of us eat dead food. So you can go to the store and you can buy a probiotic, okay, healthy bacteria, and you can buy a digestive enzyme, which is a group of enzymes you can take in a capsule. It's not a pill, or I'm sorry, it's not a drug, and those are the enzymes you normally get in a lot of those living foods. So if you have the probiotic digestive enzymes, for those of you that aren't eating too well, that'll start to replenish a lot of the stuff that you're not putting in your body like you're supposed to. Then you add to that living food with every meal, and a living food with every meal. I like my donut, I like my coffee, I like some other garbage I'm eating. Okay, but you want to treat your body like a trash can, you know, that's your call, but add a living food to it. Have a spinach salad, have an apple, have an orange in a living setup, you know, not out of a can, out of a living setup. So if I start adding living food every meal, another couple of points, you want to have 5 meals a day. What that means, you're going to have 3 main meals, so morning, breakfast, afternoon, lunch, last meal, dinner, and then you want to have at least 2 or 3 other snackings throughout the day. And what that does is keeps your blood sugar healthy, keeps your gastrointestinal system really healthy, allows proper motility, gives you good bowel movement 1 or 2 a day, allows you to urinate regularly every day, and it's keeping the plumbing open, keeping you flushing. Then what you do is you move a little bit throughout the day. Now what else do you need? You need a really good, very healthy, properly functioning nervous system. My computer needs to properly communicate and send commands to my stomach and to my large intestine, my small intestine, my appendix, and all that stuff. And everything's supposed to, all that information needs to go back up. That means you need to keep your spine healthy. So you got to make sure you got a good chiropractor. My question isn't if you have a chiropractor. My question is, who is your chiropractor? You should get your spine adjusted at least and checked at least a couple of times a month to keep the nervous system healthy and keep all those messages going where they're supposed to. Now you got a probiotic, you got some digestive enzymes, you're putting in some flaxseed and fish oil in your body, keep your inflammation down, a living meal with every meal, you're putting some living food, with every meal. You move around a little bit, oh my God, you're gonna, 100 years old, the centurion, if you will, no problem. You will live 100 years plus, healthy, functional, vibrant, skin will look good, your hair will look good. Why? Because you're putting good building materials in your body, and you're going to have good energy because you're putting good energy, the energy that your body was designed to run on. Listen guys, we're out of time. Contact my office if you have any other questions or information or some feedback on our health kicks. Emails listed right there down for you. For any family members or people that have been watching us, we certainly want to grow our practice. for well families. We want to have the healthiest families on planet Earth right here in Cicero, New York. So for those of you that are active patients or are looking for a health doctor, by all means give our office a call. Be a member of our practice. We'd love to have you. And remember, guys, in closing, you, your mother, your father, your grandfather, your aunt, your uncle, everybody you know needs to be under regular chiropractic care. Keep the messages flowing. Have a great week, you guys. I look forward to talking to you next week.